Talk to me about failure.
When my daughter was born, I kind of wished, I was almost trying to wish her a beautiful life without any failures. But realistically, could she get on a bike without falling even once? Could she find good love without just losing, breaking her heart? And that is, if you know the ratio well, and you can enjoy failure so many times. Okay, I fail. Okay, the second time, third time, fourth time, I don't care, because as long as I keep adding up more failures, eventually I know something works.
The author today has written a new book that's been translated from Japanese to English that I am going to honestly tell you right now, if you haven't already picked it up, I would highly recommend it. It's now going to be my #1 recommended book of all the books I've read in my life. If anyone wants to pick something up that's going to teach them how to live a beautiful life, that's going to teach them how to build true wealth for themselves, I think that this book is a marvel. Honestly, it's one of those books where I really feel like it was channeled more than anything from good spirits that were trying to bring us into a better world. And so the person that's coming on to speak today on True Wealth is none other than Ken Honda. Welcome, Ken.
Thank you, Skip, for a beautiful introduction. And thank you so much for inviting me. I feel so honored to be on this program.
Ken, when I was reading the book, I took a tremendous amount of notes. And to give everyone an overview of the idea of true wealth, there's the story of Kay, this grandson who's just turned 20 years old, and his grandfather, General Tezo, I might be mispronouncing his name, has left him 9 letters. And I love this idea. We had another speaker who we did letters to his children, his 2 boys, as they were growing up at different ages. And so General Tezo left his grandson Kay these 9 letters about different aspects of life on how to build true wealth. And so today I've taken a lot of notes. I've written down a lot of quotes that I want to share with everyone and dig into some details. And Ken, if you're open to it, there's even an exercise at one point maybe you can bring us through that I'm sure you do all the time that's referenced in the story. And so to give you an idea of the 9 letters that this grandfather wrote his grandson that are so beautiful throughout the book, the first one is about synchronicity, and I'm going to give you guys an overview of these so that Ken and I can go deeper on each of these topics. Number 2 is about decisions and decision making and how making decisions is such a beautiful thing in life that we'll dig into through the interview. Number 3 is about intuition, and that's the exercise I hope Ken can bring us through today, is about tuning into your intuition and training the muscle of intuition so that you know what it feels like for you, because it can feel different for everybody. Number 4 is about action, and taking action is always going to supersede indecision or not taking action, and we'll dig into that more. Number 5 is actually about money, what money is and what money is not, the different lenses that you might see money through, and what Ken recommends in his work. Number 7 is about failure and how it's an integral part to success in life, and how batting averages in the Major League Baseball, 300 is amazing, which means 3 out of every 10 you actually hit. And I think that's a really beautiful principle to carry into every area of life. Number 8 is about relationships. And there's a really interesting quote from the book that I'm going to read out here, which is, one of the longest research studies ever conducted at Harvard University followed 724 men across 75 years of their life, and they asked the question, what makes you happy in life? And the answer to that question overwhelmingly was having good relationships in life. And we'll talk about that a bit more. And then the final chapter, the final letter from General Tezo to his grandson was about destiny and the key differences between fate and destiny. So the first thing I want to bring up, Ken, is setting the premise that you guide us through in this idea of true wealth, which is whether it's love, work, or money, if you chase after what you want, it'll run away from you. But please remember that the journey to discover your life work is part of the journey of life itself. So take all the time you need. People who achieve real success all love the work they do. Perhaps it would be more accurate to say that they are successful because they truly love their work. How long did it take you to figure that out?
I'm still in the process. So, because, I have learned from so many great mentors in my life since I was 19, and they taught me so many things in such a deep way. And instead of teaching me, they asked me questions. So in this book, I have many questions through the eyes of Taizo and also his grandson Kei. Because in life, what's most important is you need to figure out, by yourself. It's not all the answers are right here. It's about how you feel, what's the most important thing in your life. And then when you try to just get it, you lose something, and then you realize how stupid you were. But those things you kind of find out along the way. So I wanted to share my wisdom over the past 5 decades. I've learned a little bit longer than young people, and then I realized like, oh, I wish I knew this when I was 20. So I put everything, and I just put it in a format of a novel, and then people can easily understand what's most important for them. So there could be 5 million different answers in this book, according to what you believe in.
Absolutely. So, talk to me about the first letter and your experience of synchronicity. There were several key elements there, but if you could elaborate on what you consider synchronicity and how to look for those in life.
So I didn't put money or work or anything as a first letter. Because when you think about it, Skip, I'm sure you have lived a very colorful life as well. So you understand that whatever you wanted when you were 25 or 20, didn't really come in the way that you wanted. Certain things happen or didn't happen. So the things you wanted to get didn't come into your hands. And also the things that you didn't even imagine are in your hands. And then, oh, this is not what I asked, but this is probably even greater than I asked for. So to get to where you are, there are many different synchronicities. I can say coincidences keep happening to your life. Like I was guided to go to Boston, for example, for 1 year with my family. The Boston, just the word Boston kept coming into my life 3 times. So when one thing comes, it's just natural. When something comes twice in a very short time, I just open my eyes. I open my ears and try to see what's going on. And when it happens 3 times, then boom, I have to do something. That's my life.
So, then talk to me about why synchronicity tags in with decision as the second letter that comes in.
So synchronicities keep showing you like, okay, I'm supposed to go to Europe, for example, and Europe. But unless you make a decision, nothing happens. It's almost like you're in a car, you're in the best car. But if you don't punch in where you're going, the destination, if you don't put the destination in, the car navigation doesn't guide you. So you need to make up your mind where you're heading to. Of course, you can change your destination along the way, but you have to decide where you want to go, what you want to do, and then start moving your car. And then if you just start for, like, say, a couple of miles, your car navigation starts working. And then you have to use your intuition to be guided. Otherwise, you'd be stuck in a garage, and then you're thinking, oh, what if I start my business? What if I just start my relationship? What if I start? You're just flooded with lots of information and what if. But if you just think of those things in a garage, and if you don't start your car, nothing happens. So make up your mind, start your car, get yourself going, and then use your intuition. It's how the order of the things should go.
So let's do an exercise right now for everybody, and let's write down some things that we want. So in the chat, in a notebook. Write down some things that you would love in your life. Some things, and it could be a beautiful relationship. It could be a beautiful date night next week with your significant other. It could be to play with your children tonight when they get home. It could be to call a grandparent and connect with them. It could be anything. It could be to read a new book. It could be to watch this interview again. But decide on some things that feel inspired, some things that give you some positive energy when you think about doing them or being in those moments. And so everyone, let's clear some things and let's write some things down, and writing them down being very important, whether that's typing it right now or writing them into a book. And let's see if we can open up some opportunities throughout the rest of this interview to see some synchronicities happen in real time. Maybe it's something that Ken says, maybe it's something that I say, maybe it's a message that's going to be incoming during this. And what Ken is saying through this is you'll usually get them in 2s and 3s when it's these synchronicities that are meant to guide you into a certain direction. And that's where we get into intuition. So we did a little exercise to create opportunity for synchronicity in decisions.
Intuition is a very interesting tool that we have. I think it's pre-installed in us, and it functions in a different way. Some people receive intuition through vision. Some people receive intuition through auditory, through ears. Some people with nose, some people with mouth, and some people have these senses. And also there's something called sixth sense. So if this was a seminar to, I do a big seminar all the time to say 2,000 people. So how many of you just receive intuition with vision? Probably more than half. A lot of people receive vision with images, like the images of me speaking to a large group and stuff like that. That imagination that I'm going around the world. I'm right now in Barcelona, and I wanted to see Gaudi architecture since I was 12. So it's been like today, 44 years of my dream came true, right? And lots of synchronicities happen in order for me to be here. So I had this image. One day I'm going to go, and then it happens. Some people receive intuition with listening. When my mentor John Gray met his wife, there was this beautiful church bell, like dun 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 dun, European, church's bell ringing in his ears. Some people just smell something. This doesn't smell good, with investment or work or project. Some people have a bitter taste in their mouth. So, and also there's a lot of people who receive intuition with senses, like I got a chill, like, oh, I got excited. I feel like I got electric shock. So a lot of people receive that as well. And I think, Skip, you are visual and also like people with senses, because when you sense something, this is wow, So a lot of people have different ideas. And also the sixth one is like, I knew it, something in you knew it a long time before. So when you activate this intuition, actually you get better. You need a little practice.
And so could you guide us through feeling a little bit of intuition in a 2-minute, 3-minute little experience, and just kind of warm up that muscle?
Yeah. So when you make a decision, like say the things that you're excited about but scares you, like say writing a book. A lot of people say that. I always wanted to write a book, but I know I have a book in me, and I'm excited, but I cannot find the time. So just sit down, just relax, and you can visualize or just think about this idea of writing a book. And when you get like, ooh, yes, I'm excited, that is super yes. And also when you see your books are lined up in bookstores, that is also yes. And also when you feel your heart is opening up to a project or a new country or new company that you're working for, it feels good. And then that's yes. And also I had a friend who was on a payroll for 2 years. The company paid him well as a consultant, But suddenly, when he was thinking of the project, he feels like shut down. So he just quit. And then he feels so open and he makes twice as much now by saying no to the old one and also saying yes to the new possibilities. So when you are feeling you're closed off or you're just opening up, you can feel what's in front of you. So intuition is not a voodoo thing or like a spiritual stuff. It's just a common everyday thing that a no-brainer. You don't need to have super intelligence in you. You can ask yourself, do I like it or not? Yeah, I'm loving it. Oh, I don't like this. So, you get the answers right away, usually within 3 or 4 seconds.
And so when I have that opening feeling, like I have an idea and I just feel so excited about it. Sometimes within minutes after that excitement, there's a lot of fear that comes in as well.
Usually good fear and bad fear. Good fear is always like, I don't know if I can do it. When you have no confidence, that's okay. I always have no confidence, especially when I have to teach in English. It scares me. But my curiosity and my passion goes over my fear. So when that happens, fear is not doesn't stop you. So that is a good fear. Sometimes bad intuition comes in, and you knew it. Like when you were about to date somebody, your intuition says, no, not that guy, not that woman. And then you knew it, but then you're attracted to the person, and then you start your relationship, and then something goes wrong, and you end up being very miserable. And then after like a few months, I knew it. And also the bad investment, bad business decisions. You knew it, but you wanted to get the money. You wanted to, do something. So you knew it. And as you knew it, it just failed so miserably. So something like that happens as well. So good excitement, bad excitement. You have to really watch it. And you get used to it. And I think after 5 ouchies, you learn.
Got it. Yeah. And we're going to get to something that I think is going to add a lot to that in a little bit here. So then that next one is about taking action. So, something that I loved about what you talk about when it comes to taking action on your decisions, on your intuition, is that you might take 2 actions and they're going to be like amazing if you take a long time to make the decisions because you really research and you really plan and you really get the confidence and you look at all the angles. But you're only going to get so far with taking just a couple actions, where you encourage people throughout the book and throughout the teaching to take a lot of action and to just be in momentum on a regular basis, because you'll end up getting so much more done, even if a lot of those things are failures.
Yeah, so I have learned it in a hard way through my experiences. Just think about it, when you start writing a book and then think about it, and never write a line, and then think about this entire like a month or two, and you end up writing just a few pages. It's not going to become a book. But if you keep writing, you can edit the whole thing, and then something comes out. So especially if you're a perfectionist, you have to let go of that side of you and just start taking actions. And you can make so many mistakes along the way. But if you just say half of what you do fail miserably, but still, if you other half wins, you are a superstar in baseball and or in any sports. So think about this fact that even the world record great sports person failed so many times when they shoot, when they when you hit, when you run. A lot of things fail, but it doesn't really matter as long as you keep trying. Something will come out of it.
And then the next thing that we got to is the descriptions and the philosophy around what money is and what money isn't. And I feel like a lot of people have heard various things throughout the summit and throughout these interviews of what money is and isn't, but I think you had such a profound take on it. And I'm going to quote a couple things from the book to get us started on this. And When we talk about financial success, we talk about the three ways to become financially wealthy. Number one is to inherit it, and we could talk about that. Number two is to make money work for you as you accumulate money. And number three is to use your gifts to earn money, and that the universe or the world or existence itself wants you to manifest those gifts, wants you to develop them, and wants you to help other people become happy and yourself through those gifts. And that's, the best way to become financially wealthy. So talk to me about those three methods of becoming financially wealthy.
Yeah, so if you don't have wealthy parents, forget the number one, because you're not going to get any. But you may think life is not fair. I think it's not fair, but it's equal. I always tell people uh, the distance between you and happiness is exactly the same. It doesn't really matter if you are born poor, born wealthy, born beautiful, born great, with lots of gifts. Because if you don't take advantage of that, uh, you you'll be very miserable. I have a friend whose parents are super wealthy, but because of the wealth, he just he couldn't feel whatever he did is not his thing. It's because of his parents, his family, and the whole thing. So the distance to happiness and abundance is exactly the same. So the other way that I suggested have the money work for you, that's also fun. But if you indulge in that, you're going to lose your health as well. I have a few friends who have inherited or who just made business 20 years ago and did nothing, just playing golf. Many of them lost their health because they're not happy with everyday life. So this number two is also great, but I recommend you become wealthy with the third one. That is, use your gifts, do what you love, and then what you love brings you happiness, good relationships, and also lots of appreciations. If you don't hear thank you many times enough a day or enough weeks, something is wrong. If you're doing things right, you get lots of thank you from wherever you go. So I just wake up in the morning, I open my emails. There are lots of thank you letters about my books, or about my seminars, or about the synchronicities that you experience. So every day I feel very appreciative and also thankful for the connections with the readers of my books, because I've sold so many. So sometimes I get email from in Arabic. Thanks to Google, I can translate them. But I have so many emails flooding my email boxes with thank you emails that in the language I don't understand. So if you have enough thank yous in your life, you're surrounded by beautiful energy, and that is a happy way of becoming wealthy. So if your parents are wealthy, inherited your money, good luck, and you just appreciate them for leaving the money. And if the money is working for you, that's great. But unless you make the money work for others as well, make other people happy, you cannot be happy. So try to come up with these three and make you and your family smile. And if you have more than enough, just let the money go to where it needs to. I sometimes ask my money, where do you want to go? Sometimes they want to go to an orphanage in Cambodia. And sometimes they want to work in an environment in Amazon. Sometimes they want to just help farmers in the local area. So I ask my money, do you want to stay with us? That's fine. If you want to go somewhere, it's fine too. And then when money leaves my place, I say, thank you. Come back to me with your friends. And in no time. So by letting go of your money easily, you can welcome new money.
Hey everyone, thank you so much for listening. If you're loving this, please give the channel a subscribe, a like, leave a comment below, or a review if you're on a podcast platform. Thank you so much and enjoy. I want to highlight one quote that you had there, which I'm not sure is like a quotable already from you, but you just dropped it, which is the distance between happiness and true wealth is exactly the same.
Yes, exactly. Thank you.
So beautiful. I absolutely love that. And Ken, for everyone listening here, also covered the work category in this, where it's really talking about the using your gifts to earn money. And I've been in a place in my life where I had created an income source, a passive income source that was greater than my life expenses, and found myself in this strange vortex of not feeling on purpose for the world and sort of lost without the regular thank yous. And so the first thing I'm going to say here is thank you, Ken, for coming on to this episode and the summit. And also thank you for writing this book, because I think it's just so incredible. And it's changing my life right now, even though I just read it yesterday. And I'm really excited to reread it many times in the future. Talk to me about failure.
That is actually my favorite chapter or favorite letter, because we wish we will not experience any failures in our life, but realistically speaking, like when my daughter was born, I kind of wish I was almost trying to wish her beautiful life without any failures. But realistically, could she get on a bike without falling even once? Could she find good love without just losing, breaking her heart? Uh, could she find something that she truly loves without just failing so many times? After 99 failures, we can enjoy one success. And that is, if you know the ratio well, and you can enjoy failure so many times. Okay, I fail. Okay, the second time, third time, fourth time, I don't care, because as long as I keep adding up more failures, eventually I know something works. So if your mental attitude is like that, you have no fear of just trying. But if you're afraid of failures, if you're afraid of making mistakes, which most of us are, and then whatever we do extra could potentially risk a failure. So that's why we froze up for so many things in front of a great opportunities. So by changing the idea, the concept of failure in you would transform your life so beautifully. I've seen it happen in young people, and they so appreciate me for writing this book because of the chapter.
And how do you interact with failure on a daily basis yourself? I could understand that there's a gradient and there's a journey that all of us would go through with failure in regards to this, where right now I hope what everyone is experiencing, and maybe there's already some synchronicities happening with what Ken has been saying throughout the interview, that instead of seeing failure as you are not enough or you're not good enough, you can see failure as there's lessons to be learned from each one, and those lessons are the building blocks towards the successes that'll be along the journey that you're on.
Yeah, so think about it. If you're in front of 20 different doors, and then the right one is only one. So you have to open 19 doors in order to find the right one for you. But if you're afraid of making a wrong mistake, somebody's using the bathroom when you open the doors, you have to say, "Excuse me," And sometimes you just open a door to a ghost house, or scary monster may live there. So you have to shut it very fast, right? But if you just know that this is the right door, and then wow, this is the right door, you can feel it. But unless you just open 19 other doors, you never know it. And my experiences tell me that after about 5 or 7 or 8, I can always find the right door. I've studied so many businesses that have failed at so many, but as a result of making many mistakes or writing bad books that I didn't publish, all the books are selling so well because the bad ones I wrote, I didn't publish. So I'm very good at making good mistakes. Because of making good mistakes, I make less mistakes. And also, even though I make mistakes, I can smile. And also I can say, good job, Ken, and then I can move on. So that is a secret of my happy success.
And there's something that you teach, a framework in the failure letter and through the story of Kay, which are the three reasons why failures happen. And the first one is arrogance. The second one is not enough research and planning. And the third one is poor relationships. So maybe we start with arrogance and just dig in a little bit, the second one, and then we can move on to the eighth letter, which is relationships.
Yeah, thank you for just studying my book. And I've done many studies myself, and I realize, including my experiences, the biggest failure is because of arrogance. I know I can do it. I know it. I have written so many books, and now I know how to write books. So if I become arrogant like that, that is like the shortcut failure, and I've experienced it and and so many times, and it cost me a lot of money too. And I asked my mentors what happened and what did you do? And the arrogance always is a trap that you just set up yourself. And the second one is that you have to do some research, but you kind of forget, or you should have done it, but you didn't. So that usually costs you some money, and also it could hurt you too. But the third one is the most important thing. You didn't have a good relationship. That's why you didn't succeed. If you had great relationships with everybody that and then when something bad happens, your friends will support you. The reason why I'm not afraid of money, or why I have very little fear of money, is that I have so many friends who make sure that I will not fall. So when I just lose everything and then just go bankrupt, I can count on many friends who just let me stay for 1 week. So I can just go to my second friend for the second week, and there are only 50 weeks in a year. So I can go back to my friend number one and say, hey, Skip, it's been a year. How are you? Can I stay with you for one more week? And if I could do that, I can just stay with my friends for the rest of my life. So I have, very good relationships with my friends and my family members and business partners. So that's why I can just find happiness in wherever I go. So if you have good relationships, it's hard to fail.
And there was this beautiful through line through this education of true wealth where it was so clearly put that everyone has a different true wealth. What it means to each of us can be so different. And in the book, Kay gets gets to make a decision and uses his intuition to choose whether to go to New York City for his final lessons or to go to Bhutan, the quote unquote happiest country on earth. And he decides for himself that his journey was to Bhutan. But I loved that there were both options and that he got to use that intuition to make that decision. How has that played a role in your life and maybe some of those friends, and how you encourage them to feel into what success or true wealth might mean to them?
This is also something to do with my teaching style as well. I don't teach people what to do. I ask questions, because that's what my mentors did for me. So instead of just me telling you got to go to New York, like, what are you telling you? What's your heart telling you? And by listening to your heart and by listening to your intuition, you know your way. Because I think everyone is born and prepared for the right tool with them. So for me, I've been guided all my life through lots of synchronicities, and I'm sort of in the process as well. That's what brought me to Europe, and I think that's what's bringing me back to US and Japan and everywhere. So I'm I'm going everywhere, whether I get paid or not. It doesn't really matter for me. I get guided to wherever I'm supposed to share my wisdom, because my lifestyle has led me to many, many beautiful, things in my life, which will become my next book too, right? So I don't lose anything. So if you just let your life carry you, um, you enjoy more beautiful memories. But I think we are so in control of our money, of our situations, of project. So that's why we want to make it in a certain way. But life flows. So if you just trust life enough and let life carry you, 100%, and then you have nothing to worry about. That's another thing that I could talk about in my next book.
Oh, wow. I'm very excited for that. So, when we get into this topic of relationships and quoting that Harvard study from the very beginning when we started out the interview today, and how relationships are unanimously, globally recognized as the most important thing that we are born with and that we die with, and through our lifetime. It's the thing that we all look back on and say, I'm so grateful for, and or I wish I had done more for my relationships. And what's so beautiful about it is it's so tied together with Taizo and Kei, where he left him these letters because he felt like through his life and even his son's life that they couldn't connect with each other very well. Is that something that's brought from like real life from you? Is this something that you've dealt with throughout life, or is this something you've learned in watching other people?
I think both. My grandfather died when he was 42, and what my father was only 12 when my grandfather passed away. So he had hardships in his youth, and then he wanted to be a tough guy. So and also he wanted to help his mom, who's my grandfather, because of the codependent relationship. After losing my my grandfather, like my dad, for my dad, it's mother, he got devastated. And also his best friend committed suicide at the time. He went into alcoholics. So I sort of experienced a similar loss of connection with my father, because by the time I knew uh, who he was, it was almost like what's left, uh, what's left for him. It's almost like he had a body, but his soul was not in there. So I have experienced the three generations of beautiful, great success and loss, and also love, and also friendship, brotherhood in my father, my grandfather, and me, and also my brother. I just wanted to just write about that in the book as well. And I think it doesn't really matter if you have a good relationship or bad relationship. You can always improve your relationship in a deeper way.
Gosh, there's so many things I would touch on with that. I wonder right now, I'm thinking about every single person who's going to watch this or is watching it right now is going to have, relationships be such a significant part of their life. And some people maybe have beautiful relationships right now. And maybe there's people watching who would want to improve their relationships, but similar to Taizo, maybe they don't know where to start or how to begin rebuilding or strengthening those relationships in their life. What would you recommend?
So I think once again, synchronicities and also decision. If you want to have a good relationship, you have to make up your mind. That's what you want. If you want to have a great work, you have to make up your mind. You have to, if you want to go somewhere, you have to make up your mind. And then something happens. So just wanting something with your pure intention is the first step. And then let the process show you, and it's going to guide you.
And that leads us directly into the final letter, which is destiny. And the way that you separated fate and destiny is you said fate is the life and circumstances you were born with. It's everything that was already predestined. Destiny is a life that you choose for yourself, and you're free to decide how you want to live. And it brings us all the way back to number one, which is right now for everyone that was looking at synchronicities in their life. They made some decisions, wrote down some things that they wanted to look for throughout this interview and beyond. It was to make that decision and then to recognize the synchronicities that are happening. So I am curious in the chat for anyone who's already experienced a few things, or maybe some things have really resonated. I'd love to see what's happening for you in the comments, and if there has been anything, and then come back to this video, come back to this interview in the future and let us know. I'm sure Ken and I will both hover around and watch, because he's going to love to see those things come through, and all the arigatos, or the thank yous that happen from it. But talk to me about fate and destiny and how you see that now.
So in life, there are two important skills: going after what you want and also enjoying what you got. So in the West, people try like almost brainwashed to go after what you want. And if you don't go after what you want, you're a failure. But at the same time, you should not forget enjoying what you got, truly appreciating what you receive. Because in life, there is a part of getting it, and also there's a part of receiving it. So a lot of us get disappointed for getting the wrong gift. Like at Christmas, how many of us receive exactly what we wanted? I've experienced at least 4 or 5 Christmas times that this is not what I wanted. I asked my Santa, probably he didn't get the right letter from me. So like we get disappointed. So instead of getting disappointed, whatever comes into your hands, you can always appreciate it. If you have this attitude, you are a 100% happy person. And also, if you just don't have this guts and also motivation, inspiration to go after what you want, you'll be just enjoying in a little cave. That's also not happy in that sense. So going after what you want, and also at the same time, enjoying what you got. You need to focus on these two from now, and then your happiness level will go up much, much higher. So don't get disappointed, even if you didn't get what you want. If what you got is something what you could truly enjoy, and you're going to enjoy whatever comes in your way, in the way, on the way to you, very deep way. So enjoy receiving what you get, because that's what life is offering you.
And there's 2 quotes I'll go through from the book that I also think are wonderful in this. The first one is, happiness is just how satisfied you are with your present circumstances. And that was from the chapter in Bhutan. And then the second one is, all you have to do for true wealth and happiness is to fulfill yourself from the inside out and become someone who gives. Talk to me about becoming someone who gives and why that's important.
I think you recommended the book Give and Take. That's also one of my favorite books, because we are in the cycle of giving and receiving, and then if you just have a choice of giving and receiving, if you just give, that stays as a beautiful memory too. So, and also if you give, you are likely to receive. In fact, I just recommend by receiving first. But in this letter, I just said, focus on giving, because a lot of us try to get something before giving. So I think giving is very important, in a sense that if you start giving, something happens. If you start taking action, something happens. So once you start becoming a giver, you will enjoy more dramas in life. If you just sit there and do nothing and try to get as much as you want, or like from the government or the companies you work for, nothing happens. And that's not how the world works. So you have to start becoming a giver.
And here's a little exercise from the book for everybody to think about right now. Just imagine your favorite person, or your top 2 or 3 favorite people in your life right now, and think about, you love spending time with those people. Are they people that are always asking you for things? Are they always people who are trying to get help or get support from you? Or are they people who naturally bring things to you, whether it's just an energy or good words, or they're bringing you ideas? Think about the differences, and that'll be pretty clear why this becoming a giver in life is such a beautiful thing to think about and to orient yourself around. So, if you're looking for happiness, if you're looking for fulfillment, and of course, if you're looking for true wealth, I think becoming a giver and becoming someone who brings good things and good energy to the people around you is a wonderful anchor, sort of a gravity well to set yourself in. Now, there's another important delineation in the book that I loved, which is there's two ways to love the work that you do, to bring positive energy to the work that you do. One of them is to choose work that brings you positive energy. The other one is to choose to bring positive energy to the work that you do right now. Tell me about that concept and where that idea came from for you.
I have a mentor who said, there's no boring job. He said, there's a boring person who does a boring job, or who makes a job boring. So he was in his 20s. He was told to put stamps on envelope, in direct mail. At those days, snail mail was something that they used for marketing. So as a young boy, he had to put stamps, for every envelope for the marketing purposes. And he thought, this is a boring job. Why do I do this? And then he changed his mindset. What if I just came up with this creative ways to put stamps systematically on these envelopes? And he came up with ways so he could, or his entire team could spend like 20% only for the process. So he became noticeable for his boss, and then he got promoted up. So he said, there's no boring job. There are only boring people who make your job boring. So once you have this understanding, you can truly enjoy what you do. And if you can put 100% of your heart into the job right now, somebody notice you, and then you'll be found. And then they'll just ask you, do you want to work for me? And then you get out of that boring job very soon. So just enjoy what you do, even though it may look boring on the surface, because it's testing you. Can you just put your 100% in for this job? And if you are like that, you can move up.
So there was something in the book that I also loved, and it was how to gauge the size of our inner money container. Can you explain this philosophy of a money container to us and teach us how to gauge the size of it?
I think I was in my 20s, so I wanted to become super wealthy. And he said, you have to know your money container size. And he said, unless you know the right container size, it's going to crack you. And then too much money will crack you. I didn't get what he wanted because wanted to be super wealthy. Now I know that I'm in my life, I'm not going to become a billionaire, in my life. And I have already achieved financial independence, and I have more than enough money, but I don't think I'll become a billionaire with big private jets. One, I don't need them, but I'm not destined to be that wealthy. And after finding out your money container, can you be 100% satisfied with it? And then if you know, like say, if you make your income three times and also your expenses 3 times, do you feel okay? Or do you feel like, I can't breathe, if it's too much? And then that money is not good for you. And if you're okay with maybe 3 times higher income, 3 times higher expenses, then, you're probably okay. So you have to figure out, instead of just trying to grow your money container fast and quick and big, you just enjoy what you got. Because everybody doesn't need to be a billionaire. Somebody is born to be like that, like Warren Buffett and Bill Gates, Elon Musk, they are like that. But most of us are not like that. So instead of just dreaming too big and just risking losing everything, we should really be satisfied with how much we have and how much we're going to make. Because too much money is not going to be a plus for your happiness and for your family too. So just enjoy what you got once again, and just know exactly how much is enough for you. And then if you're 100% satisfied, maybe you're giving a bigger opportunity to increase your money, and then you can make more money. But unless you are born like that, like Bill Gates, you should not go after. Because oftentimes people with too much ambition just digs a graveyard for themselves.
And around this topic of money and enough, and pretty soon here, I've got one golden question I want to ask, and then I also want to give a summary to all of these lessons that we've gone through in just this interview today. But there's another quote here that I just love, and I want everyone to hear it immediately, which is, ultimately, any successful person who builds up a certain level, and I think that level is enough, or maybe a little bit more than enough abundance from their business and from their work life, sees things from a higher perspective. And the question I wrote down is to think about, are you currently in your work? Are you helping yourself? Are you helping your friends and your community? Are you helping the region that you live in with your work? Are you helping maybe your country with your work? Is it impacting that many people? Are you helping your continent, or are you helping the globe? And as you achieve various layers of enough and abundance, you start to think more and more, ideally, how you can help more and more people. Whereas if you're in that grind or that daily, like needing to pay your own bills, it's harder to think about how to impact more and more people. And there's this sort of point that happens where when you've made enough to come out of that fight or flight or that struggle, to be able to think about how to help more and more people.
So I think the first like mini goal is to make both ends meet. You have to just pay all the bills. That is like a very basic goal that you can achieve. And after achieving that, you can have a more luxurious life. And after achieving that, you can enjoy more resourceful life, and then after achieving that, just go for financial independence. Financial independence means that you don't have to worry or think about money for the rest of your life. I achieved it in my early 20s, and also, so for the past 30 some years, I didn't really have to think of money as a first thing I need. But the funny thing is, after you free yourself from financial thing, you make more money, because you achieve financial independence, so you're not doing this for money, and then somehow you become more attractive. So they ask you to do more of like cooking, speaking, writing, or whatever that is. So achieving financial independence is also another goal. And then if you achieve your financial independence, your money overflows your money container. So it can go through the people you're working with, and also the people who need the money in your community, in close to you. And then if you can just make sure that everybody's happy, and then you can build up a beautiful community. I think that's what you can do. But don't try to do it too fast. You have to take care of yourself first. And then if happiness and money overflows you, then you can share with others. But make sure to make your happiness number one priority. Make your financial abundance your number one priority. And then if it overflows, that's great. Don't try to go help others too fast. And then sometimes people forget about themselves.
I'm going to speed us through if you haven't read Happy Money by Ken yet, that would also be a great recommendation, because a lot of these things are based on the principle of having positive and good energy when you think about the idea that we've all created together of money and the currency of it. So one thing that changed my life that Ken's Happy Money book talks about is saying thank you, or arigato, to money every time you receive it, every time you spend it, every time you think about it, anytime it comes up, to say thank you to it. And no matter where you are in your life, whether you're already more than enough money or whether you're really starting out and maybe it's been a struggle for you, to start having that positive energy associated with money is going to be a beautiful thing in your life. And the thank you technique that you taught in Happy Money is a beautiful daily habit that you might use 5, 10, 20, 30 times in a day to start creating that positive interaction and positive energy with money. So to kind of summarize, if we had a playbook for people through true wealth, we could identify true wealth as maybe 2 or 3 things. And we know number 1 from the book, relationships, having beautiful relationships in your life, feeling like you're connected to others and that you've got that circle of people that you care about and care about you because you've become a giver and you love to give to others. That's the first principle. The second big one is to be aware of what you really want in life and to practice that skill and that muscle of dreaming about what you want, writing about what you want, and making it very real for you. No matter how outlandish it might seem, writing it down and really being honest with yourself about what you want. You could say that you want a private jet or that you want a yacht, and maybe those things that's great to write down. Maybe it's not necessarily meant for you. So be honest with yourself and say, what would really bring that positive energy to me in my life, and be so honest. And I love the book because it shows you a variety of different people, including maybe one of the wealthiest people in the book being driven around in a Prius, and they go through the whole story of why that is. And so once you've made that decision of what you want, then looking for those synchronicities, using your intuition on a regular basis to help yourself make decisions that sort of the universe is conspiring to make you happy with, then taking action, not being afraid of failure, consistently working on that happy money mentality with yourself, and then cultivating those relationships and making sure that, yes, we were all born in certain circumstances and fate put us somewhere, but it's your choice of where you're going to go. And right now you can make new choices with all of this wonderful education Ken has brought you through this book, all of his teachings, and through this interview today. So I hope all of that really resonates and that sticks with everyone. Ken, I have one more question for you. You mentioned before we started today, before we actually clicked record, that you really want all of your work to be organically successful. And what Ken means by that is not necessarily having the success of his books or his work be because of big tours or big marketing campaigns, but to really create incredible work in the world so that it spreads from one person to another. Like, I'm just raving about this book right now and I want everyone to pick it up. And I think 100% success rate, and everyone is going to love it. Talk to me about that philosophy of creating great work in the world and why that's important to you.
Some people think they have to push it in order to be successful. And I think success happens as a result of making somebody smile. So if I can make somebody in front of me smile, and that's a good success, because then he or she will talk about my cooking or my book or my speech or whatever that is. So I believe in organic marketing, and I have taught organic marketing. I have sold 9 million copies, mostly by word of mouth. If you just cook lousy dinner, you cannot be successful, even though you're a super genius marketer. If your cooking sucks, sorry, you have no chance. So, and if your songs are not good, people are not going to listen to you. So I just want to focus on cooking good food, 100%, and then nice, healthy food. And if one person likes it, he will tell his friends or she will tell her friends. And that is the start of marketing. So instead of just pushing or book launches and everything, I just focused on writing and, beautiful stories. And if the stories are good, it'll just travel by itself. That's what I believe. So just focus on whatever you're good at. If you're good at speaking, you should speak more. If you're good at listening, you should listen more. I know 2 different coaches. One is good at speaking, the other is good at listening. You can be super success either way. So just do whatever you're good at more, and then enjoy beautiful life.
In the book, Kay, the grandson, at one point goes to Chiang Mai and works at a restaurant and comes up with this idea, and it actually is a really great idea, of creating a pizza that has Thai flavor in it at this Italian restaurant that tourists go to. And the pizza actually ends up being delicious, and they have all the ingredients already there because it's Chiang Mai. And the pizza ends up being a massive failure. and people don't end up coming in to get it because it's the market that goes there are these tourists that are really missing pasta and pizza. And he learns that lesson. It becomes this failure, but he gets this gold coin from his mentor because he's like, well, that was a really good try. There wasn't a lot of badness that came out of that. So you learned some great lessons. When you think about writing books and you think about creating the best work you can in the world, how do you harmonize doing the research and creating something that you know people will love with creating something that is really beautiful and you feel really good about?
Yeah, so I always do test marketing in my seminar, in my closed seminar. And then when I just share my ideas, like say the distance, between you and the happiness is exactly the same, people loved it. And so I try like 20 different ideas, and usually one works out of 20. And so you're just seeing the best ideas of what I have shared over the past 3 decades in my life. And my mentor said something, for him, it's just a casual conversation, but to me, it's like a big lightning ball. So something like that, I write it down. So just one idea, one concept can really change your life. And I'm sure a lot of ideas change yours too, Skip. So I think one idea can just change your life. So if you can get one idea from one book, I think it's a success.
Are you always generating new ideas? Do you have a habit and a practice of that? Or is it something that synchronicity just sort of happens organically and then you run with it?
Oh yes, for this past trip, I started from Helsinki and Lisbon, London. Wherever I go, I started engaging the most incredible, fun conversation with the person sitting right next to me. Whoever that is. So I'm just chosen. I feel this is my destiny to just tell interesting stories to the world. So uh, I never run out of ideas. I need four hands to keep writing.
Beautiful. Okay, so Ken, when people fall in love with you and they want to, consume everything that you teach and talk about, where do they go? What do they do?
So right now, I don't have much information in English yet. My staff is working hard. You can find all the information at kenhonda.com. And I'll start translating more great books that I sold millions of copies in Japanese. So hopefully you're going to see them on the bookstores, on Amazon, or on my website. Because I have the copyrights, I can just share some of the books for free. So that way people without resources, can have access to my books. So I'm so happy to share. I'm so happy to be able to share my ideas with you because, I don't need to get paid more than I have. I have more than enough. So my passion is to share. So please share whatever you receive was good with your friends. Just share. You don't have to mention my names. Just share as if it's your ideas. I'm so glad people just can impact each other that way.
Incredible. Thank you so much for coming on, Ken. This has been a really beautiful time.
Thank you. I really enjoyed being interviewed by you. And thank you, everyone. I'm giving you all the blessings I have for you, all the happy money energy.